Hi guys, welcome. This is inside HYROX Birmingham 2024. This is something of a guided tour of this particular HYROX venue, a walk the floor if you will. In a little bit we're going to head inside. I'm going to take you to the start line. We're going to have a little look around there, talk about the interesting things. Then we're going to go through the stations sequentially, one at a time, touching briefly on form, technique, movement standards, looking at real world examples of these things. And then at the end we will go to the finish line, see all the interesting bits there, and we'll talk about anything of interest as we go around as well. This video is intended for sort of relatively new people to HYROX, people that have done it one or two times, or alternatively people that are just interested in coming and competing at Birmingham itself. This gives a great insight as to what a real life HYROX looks like, how it works, and everything in between. So we're going to head inside. We're going to be filming this against the backdrop of the mixed doubles and the ladies pro waves. As we go around, it's important that you, everyone, gives support to the people that are out there. A lot of these people are in the pain cave, and it's just important to just encourage and motivate them to the end. So Birmingham is the first event in the UK calendar for HYROX. It's the start of the season. It's at the sort of in the middle of October. It's held here at the NEC in Hall 5, which is right next to the Bear Grylls, and it's sort of right in the middle. Things to consider when you're at this venue is that the car park costs quite a lot. It's the easiest, by far the easiest car park to go to, but it's about 10-15 minutes walk. It costs about £13-14 if you do it online. It costs a little bit more if you pay on the day. Always book your parking. Allow for the extra transition from your car to the registration. At the busiest times, if there's other shows going on, you can end up queuing for the car park, queuing for registration. So just allow extra time overall, okay? Let's get inside, see what it's all about. Welcome to HYROX. Welcome to HYROX, everybody. So when you get here, find the registration, and then there'll be a separate place for spectators to go to register for their bits and bobs to enter. So if you're an athlete, the first thing you do when you arrive is find the registration. Get in your queue, have your ID ready, super quick, assuming the queue is as easy as this one. One of the biggest questions is like little things like where do you put your bags? There's a bag drop at every HYROX. It's sometimes quite busy. Allow for that extra time, queuing to pick your bag up as well at the end, so dropping off and picking up. Okay, so at the start of all HYROX events there is a start tunnel, and it's normally set off to the side or off to one end to keep it out of the way, and it'll have a filter lane that sort of filters you into the main traffic of runners here. It's a big blue box that houses about 100 people. Inside there's a TV just there with a countdown clock on it, sort of with a bit of a motivational video, and as it gets closer it sort of ramps up the music. Everyone gets a little bit nervous in there, a little bit twitchy, but that's fine. So we are now inside the exercise arena, inside the running track. So now it's about navigating station to station. One good thing about Birmingham, loads of space. Unlike maybe Glasgow and Manchester where it's really sort of constricted, there's loads of space here. Loads of space. Right, so we're going to go along the station. So we've got station 3, station 2, station 1. We're going to sort of catch up with those that we just saw set off at the start as they come into the ski ergs. Okay, so we are at exercise station number 1, the ski ergs. 1,000 meters as fast as you can. Now, right now we have the mixed doubles taking part. The only difference between them doing it and say me doing it as solos is that they can just break it up as they see fit. The doubles partner must stand on the mat behind, not interfere in any way. The handles must go to the top in this context. Later when I do it by myself, it's just 1,000 meters. Rule change for this year is you can adjust the damper, doesn't really matter. Obviously if you start doing that, you're going to waste your own time. So lots of different techniques for this. Some people long, sweeping, strokes, others are sort of more rapid, and that's sort of directly related to you as an athlete, how fast you go, how much power you have, or how much tempo you think you have. And that's also would affect what damper setting you have it on. If you don't know what damper setting to have it on, just leave as it is. Okay, station number 2, the sled push. Now this is a grisly one. It's station number 2, but it's grisly, and it can deeply affect you and your rest of your race if you're not careful. So the sled push is 4 12.5, 50 meters total, backwards and forwards on this carpet. Now the carpet's always an area of contention because it feels different to most gym sled pushes. So the general advice when you're training for this kind of thing is just go heavy, go long, just over prepare. So let's talk about technique on the sleds. There's a few different techniques, but probably the most common now is the underhand slightly lift, lean over the sled, like this lady here, right? So she's got her hands outward facing like this, and it's a slight lift, and this reduces the friction. This slightly reduces the friction on the carpet. Second to that is the from shoulder push. See that lady there? She's doing the front, so like this. And that's how I've done it a lot in the past. And lastly, and probably the one you would do least, and if you're struggling, is the straight armed. You don't see it as much until people start to struggle. And that's because your weight is much further behind the sled, and it is very strength consuming. It does help you breathe a little bit in those moments. I sometimes resort to it as a last ditch attempt to get the sled going. Okay, station number 3, the sled pull. Now this one is deceptively taxing. It takes twice as long as the sled push, which is just before, and you can come off this feeling really quite awful if you're not careful. Now there's 3 distinct techniques. The one that is most popular at the moment is probably the walk back, where you take the rope up at the start of the box, walk to the back of the box, and then do that again. If you're brutish and you're strong, lots of upper body, hand over hand, not necessarily sustainable through all 50 meters. And then there's the one where you use both hands to pull it to your chest. I've seen a lot lately where people are smashing these 2 techniques together, walking it back while hand over hand for that extra distance. There's one rule that's come in this year, that if your foot touches the white line at the back, that you get a penalty. So super careful touching that white line. The marshals, the referees are looking. I can see them looking. Okay, station number 4, the burpees. Now these are horrible. There's no way of dressing it up. They're my least favourite, and I'm completely biased against these. Flipping hate them. I've done thousands of burpees over the years, maybe tens of thousands by now, and I'm still no better at them. Right, 3 distinct techniques to think about or observed regularly at a HYROX event. Stay in low bunny hops, right? You don't stand up, you keep your hands close to your feet, you hop, you hop, you hop. It's the most efficient, it's the fastest, should I say, to get to the end. Now, when that starts to run out, if you start to blow up, if your heart rate starts to go too high, then the next one is to step up and step down. Some people do that all the time, and that's as a energy preservation or a heart rate managing technique, but I still find that gets my heart up there as well. And lastly, I've seen people start to use their knees before stepping up. I guess this is the last way to do it. I've also been seeing people that take their rest at the bottom and then straight into a jump, take their rest at the bottom, do another jump. These lines are new today. I've never seen them at a HYROX event before. And that's so they can manage where people's hands and feet are going. A new rule for this year is that they mustn't step out of the burpee, so it can't be a 1-2 jump, it has to be a double-footed parallel jump. And these lines assist in managing that. Obviously the same rules apply as always. Your hands must be no more than a foot's distance from your feet. Okay, it's at this point in the video, just after burpees, where I like to stop and take a second and talk about running. Now, at least 50% of this event is running, 8 exercise stations, 8 1-kilometer runs. But then if you add in all of the Rox Zone running and the running you do in some of the exercise stations like ski and row, that's going to be closer to 60% in the end. So don't neglect your running. Now, how might you get better at running? Well, do some running is probably how. Regular running includes some speed work, includes some hill work, includes some sort of longer runs, some zone 2 work, but HYROX specific running, deal in some compromised legs into that equation as well. Don't neglect all the other stuff, don't just do compromised legs, but compromised legs, if you don't know, is where you do something very heavy that taxes the big muscles in your legs and then go for a run, 500 meters, 1k, and then come back and do some more leg exercises, heavy legs, compound movements, then do another run. That's compromised legs, and that features a lot here. Okay, so one of the things I've not talked about a lot before in my videos is the adaptive category that's relatively new. There's always been adaptive athletes, but they've made a sort of a proper category for it now, and they've subdivided as best they could people's disabilities into one of 6 main categories. Upper body impairment, so arms, lower body impairment, such as legs. They've got short stature, neurological, audiovisual, and a seat impairment, so if you're in a wheelchair. So just about all of the various sort of disabilities can fall into one of those categories. The best thing to do if you feel that you've got one of those, you need to tell the organisers first. So you need to contact HYROX before the day so they can make the appropriate adjustments to your race. Okay, station number 5. The row. 1,000 meters, exactly the same as the ski, except it's sitting down. Now, a lot of people can go one of 2 ways with this: take it too easy or go too hard. Go too hard, running out of this exercise is terrible, absolutely awful. And if you go too slow, if you treat this as a rest station, as a lot of people do, you just lose time. So it's about finding the pace you know you can do without blowing up. For me, that's about 150. I can sustain that. That's just over 4 minutes. I wouldn't want, even if I went 15 seconds faster than that, I know the impact would be too great for those 15 seconds. I'd rather save those 15 seconds running or doing something else. Now remember, when you come out of exercises, the row is a really good example. The time starts when you go through the arch and finishes when you cross the mat. This here and everything out there after the arch is considered the Rox Zone. Now the Rox Zone is simply the intermediary space that you have to navigate between the exercise and the running track. This time is added up at the end, and you can see how long you've dilly-dallied in here. Okay, exercise station number 6, farmer's carry. Flipping love this one because it's just so simple. You just got to pick up a weight and move it 200 meters. Now for the men's and the mixed doubles here, it's a 24 kilo kettle in each hand, and it's just about going up and down these chicanes until you get to the finish. A few things to think about. Get some chalk before you come in. There's a bucket just outside that arch. It's a second well spent, and it's pretty much a race between your grip giving up. So that's why people generally try and run it, because they're pretty much racing against time before their grip fails. Now I like to hold on to it for the entire way, and I kind of do this run that you see. I kind of do that for maybe half before I succumb and have to walk, but I still maintain being able to hold on to the weights. It's not so much at the pro weights though. One thing to think about in doubles is the trailing partner must be behind the working partner. Again, because this one's quite high octane, quite quick, you don't want to get in each other's way, and it's courteous just to do it that way. It's in the rules, but it's also, you would want to do it just to be nice. So exercise station number 7 is the sandbag lunges. Now, it's basically a rec bag weighted to one of the various weights over here. Look, got 10, 20, 30 for the respective weight divisions. You put it on your bag and you have to lunge over the line. Now this is one of the new rules for this year, that the line must be completely clear. No part of your foot can be on the start line or the swap around line or the finish line. And they're looking for that. The knee must touch the floor, the hips must be fully extended, as the rules have always been. With regards to doubles, they must pass the bag without it touching the ground. As for solos, the bag must not touch the ground at all, even in the turnaround zone where you can walk. If you do, it's a penalty, and it's one of those where they send you back. Okay, last but not least, station 8, the wall balls. What's to say about these? These are a horrible way to finish a HYROX event. They're brutal, absolutely devastating. But it's the last thing, and all you gotta do is 100 reps and you're out. With regards to reps and your form, gotta break parallel. That's hips but no knees, or the bottoms of your thighs need to break parallel. The targets, the top targets are for men, the bottom target is for the ladies. Just 100 reps. New for this year is 100 reps for everyone, including the ladies. Once you're finished, you sprint all the way to the finish line. So when you finish, you go up the ramp, the famous HYROX ramp, right? The area immediately behind me is where you finish. You get your patch, get your drink, banana, and get your photo taken. Looks like it is well busy in there right now. One of the best things I like about HYROX is how diverse the athletes are, the athlete pool. Now there is the fair share of really fit, young, athletic bodies here. There's loads of them. But mixed in within them are people of sort of different builds, different abilities or disabilities, of different ages. Obviously there's as many men and women that do this as each other. So there's a complete spectrum, a massive diversity of athletes, and it's not limited to those younger, fitter bodies. It's open to anyone. Okay, that is inside HYROX Birmingham 2024 done. I now need to go get ready for my own race, which is in about 35 minutes. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful in any way, please give the channel a subscribe. I appreciate it. Right, see you soon guys. Mart out.